here we are in COVID Central, just getting ready for the school year to start, getting in bed early. Shh. Oh, schmuck. Oh, Mary Scott Perry Hagler watching. So I decided to do a real video tonight, not just for my supporters, because y'all send me so damn many messages. I have to check in every once in a while. Hey Beth, where do you even start? So today I shared this post about my town. Did you just see Lenore's Board of Ed? No, I didn't, Katie. What happened? My town, Edenton, which is Chowan County. Hi, Glada. Is the Mary Scott said, I forgot what you look like. We have been away for several months now. And at this rate, who knows if we'll ever go back home. Chowan County, Edenton, which is a teeny tiny town, and it has a rate of 3 times infection when you consider per person. And I mean, you're talking to somebody who took exploring with math in college, but that doesn't sound very good. The child care center had to close. One of the hairdressers got it. It closed. It's supposed to be opening up tomorrow. And then post mail carrier person got it. Who else? People at Jimbo's Jumbos. The Boys and Girls Club had to shut down because 3 of the employees were exposed to COVID. Anyway, it's a mess. And there's several theories here, right? So we all want school to open. I mean, if you can find me a person that doesn't want school to open, please, I'd like to bring them on and interview them about why they don't want school to open. And people that homeschool, I mean, they could really set up a business. Maybe not to teach me to homeschool, but maybe to take on additional children. I mean, look what happens when I try to teach anybody anything. Just sitting around touching their teeth on an iPad. Anyway, that's another story. No, Lori didn't get it. No, Lori has been COVID free. I hadn't had my hair dyed since March, but doesn't it look good? My children said it's only blonde right there. Sort of dark here. I can't worry about that. So anyway, so school should open. People want school to open. Yes, we all want school to open. The CDC said we want schools to open. Great. The American Academy of Pediatrics said we want schools to open. So I'm like, this is wonderful. Everybody wants schools to open, right? Perfect. But, the big part is the CDC still has all these guidelines. And Trump still has all these guidelines. And how? So let's talk about those. So today, because, I have no life, I started reviewing the guidelines.
What?
The CDC says schools should not screen students. It's unnecessary.
Good for you. I have online
Well,
school the first.
they have lots of sections on their website, and they say to businesses, to employers, you could screen your employees. They don't tell the employers not to screen their employees. And not only that, they tell them if you take their temperature, if you choose to, can you shush for a minute? Stop talking. They tell people, employers, if you want to choose a temperature of 100.0, you can do that, particularly in healthcare fields. So schools are supposed to use the gauge of 100.4, but they're not even supposed to screen. Parents are supposed to screen. Now, Caitlin, it's not a supporter video. We have our supporter video tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. That's where we talk about all the people that aren't supporters, and they miss all the good gossip. But anyway, so, shit, you made me forget what I was saying. Okay, so 100.4 to 100.0. Tell the parents can do the screening. Now, let's just call a spade a spade. Parents are not always reliable measurers, because one, I know parents who have admitted which is dumb, don't ever admit this,
Yeah.
that they give their children Tylenol before they go to school.
But I'm gonna make like mini houses.
Blair, be quiet. Go in the other room. This is my living room. 2, people send kids to school sick, maybe because they have to go to work. And I don't want you sleeping in a bathing suit. Okay, put on some pajamas. And you were supposed to take a shower and wash your hair. Seriously. Again, this is why I'm not homeschooling. Now what was that? Oh, parents. So parents are supposed to, we have to trust parents to be honest, to send their non-sick children to school. I don't think that's possible, because I know normal people that send sick children to school. So now we have to trust them not to, and we're supposed to trust them if they've been exposed to COVID not to come. Well, I mean, the college students are having a big fine time running all over the place. You think people are quarantining for 2 weeks? No. Do I think they should be quarantining for 2 weeks? I have no opinion. I want someone to make a rule and to follow it. And so far, the CDC seems like the best rule to follow. But now they've screwed it all up with this go back to school. And the reason I say that is I'm thrilled that they want you to go back to school. Why are they telling schools not to screen students if they're telling employers to screen employees? Right? Or like my school system said, well, if you go to the doctor and the doctor says you can come back. Well, that means that you think people actually have a doctor. A lot of people go to the emergency room. What if they don't go to the doctor? What if they don't have the money to go to the doctor? What if they lie and don't go to the doctor? What if they're desperate for their kids to go to school so they can go work? I don't know. And then the CDC says, if you are exposed to COVID, you should stay home for 2 weeks. If you test positive for COVID, you should stay home. Tonight, Brian Bunn, an awesome doctor that we see in Edenton, said in a comment on my post, one of the biggest problems is that people are not quarantining when they've been exposed. How can we make sure that they do this? If there is an honor system, like, people are getting a lot of demerits. I mean, they're just not. And then our teachers. So Senator Berger said, oh, we've got to go back to school. They act like there aren't employees that have to take care of the children at school. You know, it's hard for me to pretend that school is not like, I don't know. Air U in Greenville. So Air U is setting up COVID school. Yes, this is true. You heard it here. For $40 a day, or I think it's $50 or $80 a week, you can drop your kids off at Air U, a trampoline park, at 7:30 and pick them up at 6:30 at night. They don't take children with behavior problems, meaning ain't no special needs kids coming in here, which I don't blame them. It would be funny though to drop Amos off and be like, oh, he's fine, he's in kindergarten. And drop him off at Air U. I mean, it's like such a shit show. It just confuses me. So anyway, so the CDC is saying you have to do all these things, which tells me that we can't go to school. Because if we have hundreds of people together in a building, there are going to be people exposed to COVID. And the CDC is saying, if you are exposed, you need to stay home. So if the teacher is exposed and has to stay home, who's going to teach? Like, I'm sorry, we don't live in Raleigh. Like, we don't have just bukus of subs, right? So to me, if the CDC says go back to school, then I also want to see all the other criteria over there change. I want the criteria to say, you know what? If you're exposed to COVID, we ain't worrying about it. If you have COVID, stay home. If somebody in your family has COVID, just come on and go. Because we know if we tell you you have to stay home, we'll never go to school. Right? Am I crazy? I feel a little crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. It's possible. I'm crazy. So, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't think we can say, Berger can say, we've got to have our kids at school, if we also are acknowledging we have to quarantine when we've been exposed for 2 weeks. Or if you have a symptom, you should quarantine for 2 weeks. A symptom. This is the CDC saying that. So yesterday I had a headache. Well, what the hell? Maybe it's COVID. Or Amos has a runny nose. Maybe it's COVID. Somebody pukes. Maybe it's COVID. And we're all going to stay home? And then our teachers, like every time they get a sniffle, teachers go to school when they are sick. And they're like, I'm going to push through. I don't have any days, or I'm having a baby. It's exhausting. Anyway, not trying to get y'all on a tizzy like I am, but it doesn't make sense to me. So if someone can explain how we can go to school under all these rules and have us actually go, please raise your hand. Raise your hand. Anyway, I'm an actualarian. Yes, that's a word. Actualarian. I like to live in actual real time. So in my town right now, if 6 Food Line workers have COVID, then that means all of their families need to be quarantining. Right? And then if you popped in their house, you need to be quarantining. I just can't believe people are doing that. I really don't. Anne said no hands raised. My child is going virtual. Really? We are not going virtual. We are so desperate that we are willing to try it. We are willing to give it a go. Do I think that it will last long? No. Do I think we will even go after our 2 weeks virtual? Not right now, I don't. And it's not because I don't want them to go to school. But if we have to follow all these rules, if you're exposed to COVID, you can't go, there won't be anybody to go. Right? Anyway. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. It's just my opinion. What I think the CDC should say, if they want us to go to school, is, you know what? Everybody's getting COVID and we're not worrying about it anymore. We're going to go to school and people are going to get sick and they're going to stay home while they're sick, but everybody else is going to keep on going to school. And if JoJo has a cough, JoJo's going to stay home, but we're not shutting the class down. We're not worrying about it. That's what I think. Do I think that's a good idea? I don't know, but it just makes sense to me. Well, a lot of people are going virtually. Anyway, people in eastern North Carolina are not quarantining. Craven County is not starting virtual. Yes, I did see that. Clinton City is going K2 every day in 3/8 split schedule. I think my school system has a great plan. I think they have worked really, really hard. It just is hard for me to understand if a cafeteria worker comes down with COVID, how is the school going to still be open? You know? Anyway. And yes, they have a choice. You can go virtual or you cannot go virtual. But nobody wants to go virtual. At least I don't. And I could go virtual. I'm right here. I could stay here with my children. Please, dear Lord, let Amos go. That's all I want. Lord, please let Amos go. Amos needs to go. Amos's mother needs him to go. So there was some kindergarten teacher in Westminster School District, not North Carolina. And the kindergarten teacher was like, I don't know why we're worried about these special needs kids. They've been retarded. They're always going to be retarded. And what do we care about them going back? Okay, this is just a side note. Don't say things like that, especially on Facebook. And then say, I'm a teacher. Well, you know, people called his ass out, and now he is going to be fired. Mary Scott just said, no, you can't. Okay, I'm a terrible teacher. I have a PhD, and I cannot teach. It doesn't have to do with my mental skills. It has to do with my inability to wrangle people. I don't have it, but... And you know what makes it worse? All this indecision. I'm not like a planner type. I do pretty well I roll with the flow. I don't like a tight schedule. But this not knowing thing stirs me up into a frenzy. which is why I drink like 3 Pepsis a day, smoke cigarettes, eat pizza, shrimp burgers. I'm just like living like it's my last day on earth. It's not going well. Mm-mm. No, it's not. Mm-mm. So I would probably do better to say, your kids ain't going to school, Adrian. Go to the Habitat store in Wilmington next week and buy the $17 desk. They have desks for $17 at the Habitat store. Bonnie misses me. All my friends in Edenton miss me. They don't really. Private school kindergarten. The idea of Amos going to private school kindergarten is funny. We have one little private school in our town, and they are not equipped to take Amos. I mean, I can promise you that. No. I haven't been drinking that much alcohol, probably because I'm like loaded up with Pepsi. 50% Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday for cleaning. Yes, Leanne, that's what we're supposed to do too in Edenton. But in Russell's class, so Russell goes Monday and Tuesday, then Russell changes classes. So then we're with all these other people. And then one person gets the pukes in his class. Are they going to all have to stay home until they get a COVID test? What if they don't get a COVID test? And then what if my husband is supposed to quarantine? He has to work. He's going to be like, y'all ain't going to school because I have to go to work. Jeannie said, buy the desk. I almost stole your golf cart. Don't steal my golf cart. Damn it. Anyway, private schools are going back. But I think private schools have to go back because they're like, people might not come if we don't go back. And they're smaller too, so maybe they can do it or try. Though that private school in Raleigh last week had a COVID case, but I think they're back open today. Mine are going back, but I think, what did Jennifer say? Especially for our public school child, it's going to be more chaotic. Yes, chaotic. I don't do that's my supporters. So we do supporter videos in the morning, typically. We didn't do one today. Why didn't we do one today? I don't know, because it was Monday. Mondays are tricky for me. I had to wallow for a little while because it's so freaking hot. Why is it so hot? I hate hot. I'm like now wearing dresses because my shorts are too tight. Moo-moos, as my friend Devin Stronach said. Just moo-moos. Anyway. I have no answers. I don't know anything. I would like to say, though, that if anybody else tells me that this is going to be over the day after the election, please send them my way because I would like to bet them $1,000 that it will not be. It might be the only way I ever get rich. Yes. $1,000 if this ends the day after the election. If this ends the day after the election, I will be butt naked on a live and be like, I am dumb as dirt. I've been tricked. True. I will kiss Phil Berger's bare, dirty toes if that happens. Yes, I will. Carry on, people. Supporters, I'll see you in the morning. We'll be going over our regularly scheduled program. Goodbye.